Absolutely massive injury news coming out of Welsh Rugby as Jack Morgan's injury potentially rules him out of the Six Nations. Let's dig into the details and see what's going on. So Toby Booth came out last week and said that there was an injury to Jack Morgan and he was going to be assessed. And then after the Scarlets Ospreys game, in which the Ospreys won, he announced that Jack Morgan has had surgery and it was actually going to be a matter of months and not weeks. Now, we don't know a lot of details about the injury, but we know it was a knee injury, and apparently the surgery went well and he's on the path to recovery. But if it's going to be months to recover, the Six Nations first game only 2 months away, I just can't see him getting back. There's no way he's getting back for that first game. But even if he comes back towards the end of the tournament, is he going to be match fit? Is he going to be ready? I don't know, but it is a massive blow. The Wales captain, he's obviously nailed down his spot. This year he's really emerged as one of Wales's world-class talents, and this is an absolutely massive blow to Wales. This obviously throws up a few questions. Who's going to play in the back row now? There's going to be a bit of chopping and changing. We weren't really sure what the back row was going to be anyway, but now it's going to be who's the captain. I mean, you're probably still looking at the likes of Derry Lake, but it has been mentioned potentially Will Rowlands or also Adam Beard. I think they'll probably still go with Lake, as he's obviously had the co-captaincy with Morgan in the World Cup, but it's just another issue, and going into a potentially big tournament where Wales need to continue to perform to continue the momentum they built in the World Cup, this is just a massive loss. Like I said earlier though, this doesn't necessarily rule him out of the World Cup, but it's going to be really tough, and he's no way going to be getting back for that first game against Scotland, which is on the 3rd of February in Cardiff. So that is a massive loss for that game, because that is an important game. It'd be important for us to set the stall out. The last time we played Scotland, they sort of schooled us a little bit, so it'd be nice to give us some revenge, and we usually do well against Scotland in the stadium, but this one's going to be difficult without Morgan. Now, before we talk about what potentially could happen in the back row, I'll just quickly read a couple of quotes from Toby Booth. So he said, quote, "The operation was a success and the right thing to do. It needed to be done. He's a young man who heals quickly, but the certainty about being a professional rugby player is that you know you're going to spend time injured and that your resilience will be tested. We will look forward to getting him better and back on the pitch, which is going to be months, not weeks, and he will hit the ground running." So yeah, as you see, there's not an awful lot of clarity going into there, but all we can say is get well soon, Jack. You hate to see it for any player, but especially a player who is just coming into his prime and seems like he's only getting better every game. This is going to put a bit of a dent in his progression, but if he becomes what we think he might be, then this is just going to be a blip. So the best thing to do, like Toby Booth said, it needed to be done, get him fit and ready, and hopefully we'll see him towards the end of the year. But what the ramifications could be for the back row and the team in general, we don't think Faletau is going to be ready for the Six Nations. He hasn't played any rugby yet. There's not much news about when he's back. We obviously were surprised to see him in the World Cup, so you never know. But you got to think that Wainwright is probably the only person who's certain to be starting. But whether that's going to be at 8 or 6 remains to be seen. You got to really think that the positive is we got a ready-made replacement in Rafael, coming straight in at 7, specialist 7, brilliant at that position. A very different player to Morgan, not so dynamic in attack, but in defence he's an absolute menace and turning over balls, causing issues at ruck. He's brilliant, and he's been actually playing really good for Leicester this season. So that is the only sort of saving grace. We've got a couple of good 7s, and I think Rafael's got to be in prime position. Tane Basham, I'm not too sure. He hasn't been that good this season for the Dragons. He obviously had that stupid red card, and he wasn't great against the Blues when the Dragons got romped at the Cardiff Arms Park a couple of days ago. So yeah, you got to think Rafael is got to be first choice for that position. But I think the issue is who plays at 6. If you're going to say Wainwright's the 8, who plays at 6? You've got Plumtree injured. Lydia has not been playing an awful lot of rugby, and maybe is a little bit past it now, unfortunately. Tane Basham, as we just said, he's had a bit of a mixed bag this season so far, even though he had, I thought, a really good World Cup. So yeah, what are we going to see? Could we potentially see Wainwright go to 6 and maybe Morgan Morris come in at 8? That's what a lot of people have been clamouring for if Faletau's injured, so that could be a potential. We don't know, maybe Alex Mann, who's been absolutely superb for the Blues this season, a very tidy, quiet player with a massive work rate and just gets around the park and does all the dirty rubbish. That's the type of player that Gatland likes, we know that. We could see maybe even Mackenzie Martin from the Blues coming in. We're not too sure. So the discussion in the back row is going to be a really interesting one. This is really going to affect Gatland's maybe choices now going into the squad selection, which is going to be apparently in January. So we look forward sort of excitedly to see what's going to happen and who's going to get the opportunity, because unfortunately Jack Morgan has missed out. Who knows, someone like Harry Deeves maybe, who's been playing a lot for the Ospreys, who's actually done really well. He could get an opportunity, so we'll just have to wait and see. There's a lot of exciting young back rowers in Wales, which is good. It's just a shame that their opportunity is coming at the expense of Jack Morgan, but we wish him well. I just really hope it doesn't turn into like the Warburton situation, where unfortunately he just kept picking up injuries and he was so good, but I think his career was just so smited by injuries that he didn't ever sort of get a massive run of games, and that affected him. So let's hope and pray that doesn't happen to Jack Morgan, but we'll see. There'll be a video following in a week or two about the uncapped players who might get called up to Gatland's squad before he announces it, so keep an eye out for that one. Hope you have a good new year, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.